What's up, everybody? Keith Mitchell here from the Outerhaven Productions, and by now, I'm pretty sure you heard that Google Stadia is in dire straits. So there's a lot of information going around right now ever since Kotaku broke the news that Google's internal development teams are no longer a thing. A lot of people are now taking this as Google Stadia being completely gone, and that's not exactly what's happening here. So I decided to make a video to break down the specifics and let you know what exactly is going forward with Google Stadia and what you can expect. So first and foremost, again, going back to the beginning of the news, the internal development teams, the people that were supposed to be making these exclusive games for Google Stadia, are now without a job. And it's never a good time for anybody to be without a job, especially during this pandemic that is COVID-19, which is a pain in a huge butt. I wish those people nothing but success on finding new jobs out there. Jay Raymond is a fantastic person in the game industry, has yet again looking for a new job, which really sucks. She was at EA and now she went to Google and now she's going somewhere else. So good luck to you again, Jade. Hopefully you find something that's a little more substantial. Getting back to Google. So what exactly does this mean for people who actually own a Google Stadia? Well, for right now, nothing. You can still continue to play games on Google Stadia if you play games on Google Stadia. The problem with Google Stadia has been and will forever will be, until Google eventually does pull the plug, is it doesn't offer anything substantial. Everything that's on Google Stadia, with the exception of one game, Glint, is available on PlayStation or Xbox or PC. There's no meat. There's nothing. When people come to Google Stadia, or when they wanted to come to Google Stadia, Google promised everybody, hey, we're gonna have all these great games, come to Google Stadia. And then when they came out and everybody's like, hey, I can get these games elsewhere, what is there for me to get on Google Stadia? And they were pretty much quiet. Nothing exclusive came to Google Stadia. And half the times the games that were on Google Stadia did not run as good as its console or PC counterparts. So there was a big issue. Look at Doom Eternal. It was promised to run at 4K and 60 frames per second, and it did not live up to the hype. There are a lot of features that did not come out with Google Stadia that only finally started coming out. And even when we reviewed this thing back in 2019, we pretty much said this thing was not ready for prime time. And it wasn't. It really wasn't. It has great legs. I'm going to say Google Stadia has a fantastic potential. It has fantastic potential to do good. But the problem is Google does not put out the effort. And I'm guessing they were expecting everything just to come to them, and they didn't want to put out the games. I mean, look at Xbox. Project X Cloud takes advantage of all or most Xbox games. Fantastic work there. You can pretty much play your Xbox library in the cloud. Perfect, fantastic, great, that's awesome. GeForce Now, play your Steam games and other games on your PC that's not powered, high powered, doesn't have a great graphics card, but you can still use the cloud to play your games. Fantastic. What did Google Stadia offer? Not really much of anything, and that's what killed them. All right, so I'm not going to kick the dead horse anymore talking about Google Stadia. Let's talk about what's happening now and what you can expect going forth. So as I mentioned, these developers are now gone. So what Google is going to do now is go to other departments, other developers, and go, hey, we got this architecture in place, we've got these servers in place, we know how to do certain things, invest in us. So basically, they're still in the hardware business, but no longer in the software business, which is asking a lot for these other developers, meaning they could go to Capcom or Square Enix or some new upstart that wants to get into gaming and go, hey, we can offer you our architecture. You just need to invest in us. Now, if I was somebody coming into the game industry and I've been keeping tabs of what exactly Google is doing, I wouldn't do that. Google has dropped the ball every time they had a chance. The game industry kept saying, hey, Google, you don't have the games. Hey, Google, this is a problem. Hey, Google, we can't do certain things on Stadia. Hey, Google, what are you doing? And every time Google ignored it. Don't even get me started with Phil Harrison. The fact that he gets to keep his job and the internal developers, the people who are supposedly making these games and working on Stadia, are now without a job, infuriates me, because this is the third time that he has done something that has scrapped an entire project or made something look so bad that people just don't want to touch it. Google Phil Harrison. I'm not going to talk about him anymore. He's a huge disappointment. He frustrates me every time I talk about him because what he does, and he always seems to have this golden parachute that protects him from everything. Not cool whatsoever. But getting back to Google Stadia, if you were somebody who's looking to get into the game industry and you knew exactly what Google is all about. This is a company that makes something, and if it doesn't do well, they drop it. They have a terrible history of doing stuff like this. And when Google Stadia first came out, everybody said the same thing. How long is it going to be before Google abandons this project? Been a year and a half. It hasn't been abandoned yet, but it is circling the drain. It is right there. It is ready to go. And I guarantee you, if nobody approaches Google about leasing or taking advantage of their hardware, Google is going to drop it. Simple. Hot potato, it's gone. Google has no problems. They're a multi-billion dollar company. They could care less. It didn't work out for us. Let's drop it. We got money in the bank. We're good. We'll move on to something brand new. This is what Google does. They've done it time and time again. The problem I have now is, again, you've got good people who sign up to work on this thing, and you're like, goodbye, see you later, get out. That's not cool. Not cool whatsoever. So the end all be all is basically this. If you have Google Stadia, you can continue to play the games that are available, but don't expect much more to come to the platform. I'm calling it right now. Stadia, even though it's not dead right now, even though Google has not said that, hey, this is dead, Stadia is dead. There's not a developer out there who's going to waste their money and invest it in a architecture on a platform when Google themselves has already said, we're not going to waste any more money. Them firing those people, the developers, is Google's way of saying, we're done. We're not doing anything else. And if they don't find somebody else to invest in their platform, it's only a matter of time before they pull out. So that's what I think about this all. It's a rotten deal. I feel sorry for everybody who bought into the hype of Google Stadia. When we bought our Stadia Pro kit 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, we reviewed it. We were like, nah, this is not for us. And we sent it right back. Retrospect, that was a good call, because we've been looking at this like, wow, we got a controller and a dongle and nothing to show for it. Not to mention their business practice was garbage, was flawed from the get-go, and they've never listened to the public about their business plan. It was not a good one. Everybody kept saying, Google, this is not going to fly. This business plan is terrible. Who wants to pay $60 for a game that if your service goes down, we have no access to? If Google Stadia goes belly up, we can't access those games. It's not like Xbox Project or Project X Cloud where we bought the game for that particular system, but we can still play on the Xbox. It's not like GeForce Now where the games we buy are on Steam or other platforms that we are using GeForce Now to play. But if GeForce Now goes belly up, we still own those games unless Steam goes belly up, which, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but it's not happening anytime soon. So yeah, Google, your business practice was really a big reason why Stadia did not succeed. I'm so frustrated because it again, in my review, I said the technology was great. I tried this out before it was called Google Stadia when they were letting us play Assassin's Creed, and it was great. It had its issues, but it showed it had potential. Now, again, nobody's going to invest money in this platform, and it's going to go away. Google has invested millions of dollars on this, and they've shown that they lack the hindsight, they lack the focus, or they just did not care about the game industry and thought this was another way to make a quick buck. A colleague said this to me, and this makes a lot of sense. We're in the middle of a pandemic. You have not made any progress with Google Stadia. You have not sold anything. People are not vested in your platform. You have failed to gain an audience during a pandemic where people are playing games more than ever. If that's not a sign of failure, I don't know what is. Sucks to be you, Google. I mean, you had everything. You needed to listen. You needed to pay attention to the trends. You needed to listen to the gamers. You needed to listen to the industry, but you chose to do nothing. You wanted to forge your own path thinking that you were end all be all. And at the end of the day, this is what happens. It's terrible. Phil Harrison, you're just one of the main reasons why it failed. You guys should have did better. You could have did better. Here's the hope that Amazon looks at you and goes, you know what? We're not going to make the same mistakes. But as I understand it, Amazon has their own issues to deal with. So we'll leave that there. So that's it, folks. Google Stadia is not gone. The internal teams are going away. Google's going to reach out to other people to see if they want to invest their money into their platform. And maybe they won't. We'll have to wait and see. I'm calling it. It ain't happening. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely leave a comment. We want to engage with you. We want to know what you think about this, and we want to interact, provide our feedback, provide some words of wisdom, or just being plain silly. Either way, let us know in the comments what you thought about this. And of course, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified with new content. That said, thanks for watching, and RIP Google. Should have did better. You could have did better.